Hey, good morning guys. This is a demo video for a personal project of mine, the Nerfherder Customs in Jaws Junkyard, Krayt Slayer. I was very excited to get one of these. I had helped Benji a little bit along with the design, getting it over to Jaws Junkyard, just some very minor things, just enough to say like I was involved in a small way, and it was nice to be able to be involved in a project and help him along. So this is a saber that he designed all by himself. He had actually made this originally out of various saber parts, sent me that particular saber, and then I drew it up for him. So I think he was pretty happy with how this came out. It's a very cool saber. It's very beefy. It sounds really good. Nice 2-button setup. Had lots of room for, not lots of room, but it had room for a crystal chamber. It's got some very nice blade depth. Takes for a 7/8 inch blade. My buddy Tim over at Tirfon Orbital had already made a very cool brass mix hybrid chassis for this guy, and I almost went with that, but at the very end when I got this in hand, I just wanted to try something myself, because that's the nature of my business over here, and designing sabers, installing sabers is having the creativity to come up with something on my own. So I came up with what I think is a very cool, unique chassis, just a different option for this guy, and it was very fun to make. I've got one more of these coming to install for someone else, and I learned a few things on this one, which happens to be mine, so I'll carry that on to the next install. But overall, very happy with how it came out, and very happy to have this in my collection. So let's go over my desk and take a look at it, and I'll show you guys how it works. Alright guys, here's my Krayt Slayer, or my little personal take on the Krayt Slayer. I did do some modifications to this guy just to kind of make it my own. First, I laser etched these little tally marks on here. They're supposed to be kill marks for killing slate dragons. I thought that was pretty cool. I did laser etch the radiation sign just above these holes, just because that's where the crystal is, and I thought it would be cool also, right? So when you get this original hilt, these are more like slots and less like openings. So what I did was I went through to every opening and I milled it out a little bit so that you could come in here and you could see that crystal. So the marble lights up and it spins, and I wanted a clear visibility for that when the handle was on. So that's what I did there. That worked out pretty good. You can see that through every one of those holes. This is Benji's new logo for his business, Nerfherder Customs. So I just kind of laser etched that on there and weathered it up a little bit as an ode to him, and then weathered the entire saber. All right, so lots of battle damage down here, all around here, coming all the way down to the control box, which is power for the silver, auxiliary for the red. The grips, I believe the grips are made out of aluminum, so that was really cool. And then the pommel is steel, and I'm a big proponent of, if you have a steel piece, to actually stain it with some heat. So that's what I did there. This has been heat stained. All right, this does take a 7/8 inch blade, and it's running a KR Sabers V4 lit PCB, so we'll fire that up here in a second. Plenty of blade depth, okay? To get to the handle, it's kind of a 2-piece deal. So you've got this guy right here. You want to take this and unscrew it. That kind of helps line up the switches, all right? And when you unscrew it, you can, or you unscrew that piece rather, you can just unscrew the handle. Few threads on that guy, no biggie. Let me get this out of frame. And then this is the chassis that I came up with. So this has our 2 switches here. The wire path for everything that's going on goes right underneath those switches and behind the crystal chamber. So right in this area down into the board. So that's why you can kind of see everything that's going on there. All right. If I do that again in the future, I'll probably hide that a bit more so you don't see any of those wires. This one was mine, so I wasn't particularly concerned about it. This is a round quartz marble. Something that I really enjoy using. It's a bit of an opaque marble, so it makes the light diffuse very well, that you'll see here in a second. All right, made some various greeblies. I designed this crystal chamber and then had it printed in brass. So a lot of different greeblies and tubes that I like to use. This piece spins right here, and these claws were a little bit tricky to design because they had to be thin enough where I could bend them out and not break them, and then clamp them back down onto the marble. That was the intention, and that worked out pretty well there. Actually, when I had these printed and this piece came to me, these claws were bent all the way in, which was kind of weird, but I was able to bend them back out the way I wanted to, and everything worked out fine there. So I went ahead and I weathered everything. This takes an 18350 removable battery. So spring side over here, 28mm smokeless outpost elite speaker, and then the Proffie board. Now this chassis, because I put in all this stuff, I didn't really have a room for a kill switch, and again, that's something I'm not too concerned about. If you're going to take off the handle, if you're going to take off this little greebly, then you're going to unscrew the handle, and you're going to do all that to get to your kill switch. You can just come over here, and instead of a kill switch, you can just pop the battery out. All right, it's the same amount of work. So the Proffie board is just snap fit down in the shelf. You can reach the SD card here with a pair of tweezers, or it is robust enough to where you could pop the board up like that, do what you wanted to do, and then snap it back down into place, and it will stay there. This is running the font that was specifically designed for it. It was a collaboration between Benji and Keenan over at Krayt. So this is the Krayt Krayt Slayer font. I do have it in green. We're going to put our battery in here. If I turn this off, you can see if you look down in there, that's where I've got a KR Sabers Neopixel down underneath there, but there is more than enough light coming from that guy to light this entire thing. All right, and if we come over here and hit power, now we've got that cool spinning marble, auxiliary, all right, and we've got twist off. All right, so that's what it looks like with the handle off. You put the handle back on. You basically just screw this all the way down until it gets tight, and then you're going to want to come over here and you're going to want to line up that hole. You line up that hole, take your little greebly here and screw it in place. And when you lock that down, your handle's locked down, your buttons should line up. I would just take this guy and back it out of the blade socket. Now, on my particular one, it wasn't quite long enough to be used as a blade retention. So what I did was I came in here. Let me take this off. I came in here. I drilled and tapped a hole right on the bottom of this greebly, and I put a little set screw in there just to give me a little bit more depth, and then I glued that set screw in place. And then that's how I just, turn that into a blade retention. Very easy to do. Chucking that up on my lathe, it was very easy to get that center hole drilled. Doing it by hand, it would be a little tedious, but you could still do it. All right, get a decent drill press, that'd be fine. So we're gonna put this blade all the way in, lock it down with the blade retention, hit power, and one with a green blade. And let the blade lock up. One thing about this saber, it is super loud. This steel pommel does a really good job of pushing the sound through. I got my speaker butted up all the way up against it. In fact, on this one, I did machine probably a thread's worth of material off of the pommel itself, just so that I could fit the crystal chamber in there. But that's something that I knew I was gonna have to do. And it just makes it very loud. twist off action, and then when we're done, the blade come right out. All right. To take it back apart, of course, we'd do the same thing. Just unscrew the screw bleed here. Don't drop it. Come over here and unscrew our handle. And we'll just simply take the blade, the battery out, just like that. All right, and that is my Krayt Slayer from Nerfherder Customs in Java's Junkyard. Thanks for watching, guys.